Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, good evening and welcome back to the CENC Southeast Invitational. My name is Warren Jugglegod Hammond, and tonight I'm joined on the mic by Dividing. How are you doing tonight, Dividing?
I am doing fantastic. Up ahead later on tonight, we have an amazing grand finals match for this virtual
Yes!
qualifier between the South Florida Bulls and the Kennesaw Owls. These guys have been battling through the bracket throughout these last 2 weeks. It's been a pleasure to watch, and I can't wait to see how it comes to an end. This best of five matchup.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be exciting. Both of these teams look phenomenal. They really made short work, I think, of a lot of the teams in this bracket. And so it's going to be exciting to see which one comes out on top tonight. But first, we have a special interview with us here tonight. We have from the sponsors of this tournament, the U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Potts coming in to talk about some of his experience in the Army and playing esports. How are you doing tonight, Sergeant First Class?
I'm doing well. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing good. Thanks for coming
Doing
in to
great.
join us tonight.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
you bet, you bet. Now, to start things off, I just want to know a little bit about your experience and time in the Army. Tell us a little bit about that, where you've gone, what you've done, how it's been for you.
It's been phenomenal, gentlemen. I've been in for a little over 15 years now. I came in '06. My
Mm-hmm.
first job in the Army, I started off as IT. And from there, I went forward to do radio support for explosive ordnance disposal. I don't know if you gentlemen know anything
Ooh,
about that, but it was a lot of fun.
no.
I made a lot of friends. From there,
Nice.
yeah, from there I reclassed and I went IT support, information technology specialist, and then it was more like system admin, networking, just things like that, like overall IT things.
Got
After
you.
that, I've just been kind of
And
hanging out
has
and going forward.
very cool, very cool. And has any of this taken you overseas or abroad yet? Have you gotten to travel as a part of your time in the Army?
Yes, actually, I did.
Nice.
I did a year in Afghanistan, and then as far as like traveling, it was on my own accord. I used vacation days,
Mm.
so like I visited Germany, Spain, Canada, Japan, things like that. I like to snowboard, so I
Wow.
like to travel and do a little
Oh,
bit of
nice.
everything.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thank you so much
That's
for giving
awesome.
us a little bit of an insight. Could you tell us more about just your history with esports now? What kind of games you played when you got into it, things like that.
Uh, I'm kind of a little bit older, but I started off in like late '90s with Red Alert, Command and Conquer,
Nice.
StarCraft,
Sure.
Brood War. I love Brood War, and then I kind of transitioned into Diablo, LOD, and then got sucked into World of Warcraft. Played that for a long time, and then after that, I played Counter Strike. I played bouts of Counter Strike from late '90s, 1.3,
Mm-hmm.
1.6, or CS:GO, things like that. But I've kind of dabbled here and there. By no means in a professional aspect, but still
Right,
passionate
right.
about it. Still for
Absolutely.
enjoyment.
That's
Now,
awesome.
yeah, now I just
I
kind of see what the boys are doing and go from there.
I like it. I like it. I got my start in the late '90s as well, back playing original Quake. So I remember
uh,
all of those games that you mentioned. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a trip back for me right here. That's fantastic. Well, Dividing, I want
Yeah.
to turn it over to you for some questions as well for Sergeant First Class Potts.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn about how these two interests and jobs of yours, the army and the esports, has kind of interlocked for you and become sort of a mixed bag. These aren't two things that are generally considered to go together. So, how can like esports and the army fit together?
In a lot of ways, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and I was talking with some of my friends and whatnot, and we were talking about how the army was always kind of a reputable career going into, and then as we got to talking about it a little bit more, it's like a guarantee. It's not like it is a guaranteed job, whether you enlist for 3, 4, 5 years, and we get a lot of downtime, right? We get 30 days vacation, we get
Yeah.
off at 5, 6 o'clock, and we played a ton of games. Like when I came into the army, it was right before the Burning Crusade had released. So I got a new laptop, I got an Alienware before Dell
Nice.
bought them. Just really just kind of hanging out, having that guaranteed stability, the food, the shelter, a place to eat, not having to worry about getting fired, anything like that. I was on time, did what I needed to do, but I had a ton of time to game, and as well as like the physical fitness piece and just being passionate. And the Army gave me not only the leadership skills, but communication is a big piece too. You know, especially when you're playing at like a competitive level, and being able to just to listen, you know, take commands, but as well as give them, you know, if you have that insight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm curious to know your thoughts about the sort of rise of collegiate esports over the last decade. Now, I personally am the resident Zoomer in this call. I remember being 11 years old and my mom turning to me one day and going, "Hey, Devin, did you hear that this school in Chicago is offering scholarships to people for playing video games?" And I was like, "Whoa." That was such like a huge thing for me and did a lot to like legitimize the video gaming and esports space for me at a young age. From your perspective, going from almost nothing to now this point where we're having bona fide in-person competitions with thousands of dollars poured into it, both by the universities and the tournament hosts, to bring these students together to compete in video gaming. Watching that sort of rise, what has that been like for you?
It's exciting. I think it's phenomenal, especially growing up with it from, you know, consoles to the internet and then going forward and seeing everything. I love the competitive edge. I love the networking. I love the community. Everything about it I think is great, as well as for me being able to see that high level of gameplay, right? I have time to put forward, but I may not have uh, that time here in my life with my daughter, things like that. But being able to see people who are passionate and just being able to see what they're capable of, it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, for our participants in the game later on today, the students of USF and Kennesaw, what do you have to say to them as they're getting ready to go into game in a couple of minutes?
Wish you guys the best of luck, and I look forward to watching it.
Yeah, it is certainly going to be an exciting matchup. Now, before we close things out, I wanted to get a little insight into, what kinds of games you enjoy playing as well. Learn a little bit more about the person pots. So, what games have been catching your eye recently, and what games that are on the horizon are you especially looking forward to
uh,
playing?
so I haven't. I'm not too caught up on it with the games that are coming out because I just recently moved from Washington to Florida. But
Oh,
I
wow.
got,
That's
yeah,
a
I
move.
just,
That's a
yeah, you're telling
move.
me. But before I left, I was playing Counter Strike with my buddies, and then I was playing a
Hmm.
lot of Project Diablo 2. And now I haven't. I just downloaded, but I haven't got to play Diablo 2 Resurrected yet. So I'm pretty excited. I'll be playing some of that tonight. But outside of that, that's really what I've been looking forward to the most. A little bit of that nostalgia piece.
Yeah, you gotta love those nostalgia games. You really do. I love when they re-released a remastered Quake version recently with a whole new level. So that was exciting for me to go back and relive, kind of my glory days of gaming back in the late '90s. Um,
Way cool.
yeah, but that sounds fantastic. I've haven't gotten the chance to dabble in the Diablo games yet. What is it that you find that you like the most about the Diablo games? Because you mentioned them a few times.
No, I like any kind of game that is a grind. I really enjoy the grind.
Okay.
Yeah, versus going in, getting it, and being done. It's the grind, the RNG. Like I enjoy everything about it. I haven't played any sort of like RTSs in a long time, but that's something I'm thinking about getting back into here.
Yeah, there certainly are plenty of good ones of those. Well,
Mhm.
before, final question from me. Do you have anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Anybody who's, helped you along your way in esports or in the
Oh.
army that you just want to give some recognition to?
I would say I'd give a shout out to the Tampa Army Recruiting Battalion. I'm brand new here, and they've been overly welcoming. It's a great group of people, and to First Sergeant Jeremiah Vargas. He's out of Chicago now. Another phenomenal mentor and just overall great individual.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And do you have any final questions dividing for Sergeant First Class Potts?
South Florida, Kennesaw. Do you want to throw your support behind either one of these teams today?
It's got to be
yeah,
South Florida. It's got to be South Florida. That's where I'm at.
Heck yeah.
Those are my boys.
Those are your boys. Well, thank you so much, Sergeant Potts, for coming with us to this interview today. It's been a true pleasure talking to you, and good luck with your work in the future.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us for this pre-show interview. We are going to be back very shortly with some exciting action. We've got Kennesaw State going up against USF in just a short few minutes. We're going to make sure the lobby is ready to go and all the production things behind the scene are ready as well. So stick around. We will be right back. Hello, everybody. We are back and ready to go for this grand final matchup between University of South Florida and Kennesaw State. This is sure to be a fantastic matchup, dividing both of these teams, gunning for that first place slot and that $1,000 prize.
Yeah, I got to talk a little bit with representatives of both teams prior to tonight's match, and let me tell you, the confidence from both of these teams is through the roof. Both these guys came to me saying, "Yeah, we're gonna win." Like, not even just like we want to win, we hope to win. Like, we are going to win. That was the sort of vibe that I got out of both Wads from the side of Kennesaw and Saki on the side of South Florida. Both these guys, they are super confident in their abilities and super confident in their ability to take down the other team.
Yeah, and I think that confidence is well founded for both sides. They have been tearing through the bracket here at the Southeast Invitational. Nobody really, I think, has held a candle to either of these teams so far, especially, in my opinion, Kennesaw State. They just look indomitable in their semifinal matchup, and I think they're my personal favorites going into this matchup, just by a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious because, you obviously got a chance to watch these guys yesterday in their semifinal matchup. What about the Kennesaw lineup impressed you so much?
It was the way that they just had a plan for every single thing that seemed to come at them from the opposing team. They never panicked, even when they were down one or two people in a fight. They just calmly backed up, they regrouped, and they came back at it. This team showed tremendous amounts of resilience and skill, and in both cases, they had I believe they were able to keep the opposing team at 50% and 0% during their control matchup and stopped them about halfway through during the hybrid phase, or rather the escort.
Yeah, and I do have to say, on the side of South Florida, some incredibly talented players on
Oh,
both
yeah.
these sides. I asked Wads from Kennesaw State, is there anyone from the side of South Florida that you are keeping an eye on, that you are a little intimidated by? And he goes, Jin is kind of nuts. So
Jin
we
is
got to be
kind of nuts.
keeping an eye on the Zenyatta player. I remember him popping off against Central Florida in their quarterfinal match, and here he is right back on the Zenyatta once again as we go into our first map of Busan, a very open map as well, which means Commander Hui on this Echo is going to have a lot of room to work.
Yeah, that they are, especially with Bebop on the Wrecking Ball as well, causing a lot of disruption in Kennesaw State. Jin, we saw them pop off tremendously on that Zenyatta yesterday in their semifinal match, and I'm expecting to see the same from them today. Saki trying to find a hack on the side is unable to. Now we just see a couple of members of Kennesaw State on point, waiting for it to unlock. They do go ahead and cap it, and now the engagement comes in from Bebop. Slam is in, doesn't really catch very much though. At the moment, hack comes in from Saki as well onto the main tank, Nitro Galaxy, but no real effect there as well. Dirk the Turk, though, gets D-Max. So Kennesaw State looking a little bit better in this scenario. And also, Lukewarm has 90% to their tac visor as well. This player is just doing a tremendous amount of work. And with that, Kennesaw State is going to take this first fight.
Soldier is in arguably one of his strongest states right now. His damage is higher than it has been in a really, really long time, and Lukewarm uses it to full effect. I do have to mention, though, the entirety of Kennesaw State University has done an incredibly good job dealing with Saki. He was not actually successfully able to pull off a hack and that's so important for the University of South Florida engagements. So the fact that they couldn't do that was so crucial.
Yeah, and if they can keep that Saki in check, it's going to be very, very difficult for USF to get any kind of hold on this point. Jin pops the Transcendence to get USF onto point now. They're going to be able to start contesting it. They're chase down Lukewarm as well, remove him from the fight. Picks on both sides, though. This is now a 4v4 on point, so it is still anybody's game. Bebop coming in, looking for potentially a slam ops against it, and instead goes to try and help out the rest of his team, which has just gotten picked off by Kennesaw State University. And with 80% on the board already, they are looking primed to take this first sub-map.
Yeah, we've got one fight territory now for Kennesaw. The dives out of Nitro Galaxy and Kezin and Prototype R have been absolutely amazing. However, South Florida, they're coming into this one with almost every ultimate. Jin's Transcendence was forced out by Kezin in that last fight, but we can expect every other ultimate to come online in this one.
Yeah, that we can. We are firmly in last fight territory at this point. Kennesaw State wants to put the nail in the coffin of this first sub-map, but University of South Florida has other ideas. That is until the support line is removed from University of South Florida. We get the self-destructs coming in from both Commander Huey and Dirk the Turk. One of them does yield a kill onto Kezin, but is it going to be enough? Lukewarm finds Commander Huey as well, and with overtime ticking over, that's going to do it. Kennesaw State comes out 100-0 in this first sub-map.
And Luluki goes down in that fight before she can build up all the way to that rally. She was at like 97% or something like that. That is so huge. You needed that rally armor if you're the South Florida Bulls to be able to sustain through a close range fight, because you were forced to go on to the point. However, now we are moving into Mecha Base, much more closed in. Brawl is much more preferable here just due to the close range prowess, and both teams seem to be going with about the same comps. It is actually a mirror comp coming out from both of these squads. And welcome back to Overwatch. Cole Cassidy, Lukewarm, and Saki
Yes.
Are going to be locking in the newly renamed character.
And we see the battle starting out on this high ground. Kennesaw State kites away from University of South Florida. They apparently want a different position here. Mayball comes out, isn't able to catch anybody for the Bulls, but they are going to drop down to point now. Shield goes down very low for Dirk the Turkey. He's eventually removed by a fire strike from Nitro Galaxy, who has started to lead his team onto point and to victory in this first fight here in Mecha Base.
Yeah, the push from Kennesaw was just so good. There was so much aggression coming on to Dirk the Turk that he just couldn't deal with. The shield got broken, and then so did his health pool. And, I mean, look at the shatter percentages. Dirk the Turk has 20%. Nitro Galaxy is there. I don't know if they're expecting it, but he is. It's blocked.
Yeah, he throws it out there, but it meets the shield of Dirk the Turk. Picks from either side. Nitro Galaxy removed though for Kennesaw State, so without that main tank, it's going to be hard to hold that front line, and University of South Florida can start to push through, but they don't want to yet into this amplification matrix of WADs. Instead, USF opts to rotate around to the backside of point. Now they're going to start pushing the high ground as well. See if they can get another pick, but Nitro Galaxy crucially back in the lineup. South Florida waited a little too long to make this push. Bebop is demeched as well too, so they don't have their diva there to help protect the backline from the aggression that's sure to come in from Kennesaw State. But Saki on Cassidy takes out Kezin. Oh, but Lukewarm says, nope, I've got Cassidy under control as well, with the Deadeye pops too. Pushes away so many members of University of South Florida, and this point is going to remain in control of Kennesaw State.
Yeah, Kennesaw's looked so good. Such a well-timed beat coming out from ISO, I have to say. It was looking pretty even until all of a sudden all the remaining members of Kennesaw suddenly had 1,000 more health. However, South Florida are coming back quick. They're looking to want to take a quick fight here with this Blizzard.
That they are. Charge comes through. The counter charge tries to happen from Nitro Galaxy, but the Blizzard was too much for them to handle. Here comes another Blizzard, this time from Kezin. They pop it second. It's looking like it's going to get a little bit more value. Immortality Field committed as well from Jin, but it's going to be too little. Too late to save Commander Huey. Dirk the Turk is removed from the fight as well by this self-destruct. And now Kennesaw State has 90+% on the board. Can University of South Florida mount any kind of comeback here? It's looking less and less likely. But Saki comes in with a huge Deadeye from Cassidy. Catches out two members, but it's still not going to be enough. Kennesaw State comes in with a first map win.
Yeah, a perfect 200-0 map coming out from Kennesaw State. And man, these guys really impressed me with their patience more than anything. They played a fairly passive strategy, just allowing South Florida to push into them aggressively, and then using their ultimates in response after everyone else had already, after all of the resources were depleted on the side of the Bulls. That
Right.
was incredibly impressive from Kennesaw, and man, it's super strong start in this finals matchup.
Yeah, the Owls certainly have their sights set on that first place and $1,000 prize money. Second place, though, is going to come away with 500. So, regardless of the outcome, these teams are going to come away with a cash prize tonight. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the LAN on November 6th. Both of these teams have qualified for it. So, they're going to be able to participate in it regardless of the outcome of this match. But they want those bragging rights and they want that extra cash, I'm sure.
Yeah, winning this virtual qualifier against a lot of the teams that you're going to be facing at that LAN, it's like such a boost in morale and
Yes.
confidence, and maybe a bit of intimidation on the other side as well. You get to walk through that LAN center and everyone's looking at you like, oh, those are the guys that won online. They beat us pretty bad, actually. And then they're maybe a little bit scared when when they have to face you on LAN. And honestly, when it comes to LAN, mental is such a big thing when you're on
Yes.
stage in front of people.
Yeah, I imagine it is. You're not in your bedroom, you're not in your pajamas. You are on stage in a uniform, representing your college at these lands. So, very excited to see both of these teams being able to participate in it. But we've got more fantastic Overwatch coming up for you, and I am curious to see what map is going to be chosen next by USF.
Yeah, I'm not super sure. The issue is that Kennesaw played two entirely different comps in both of their maps. They played sort of a divey comp on the first submap of Shrine, and then they played a brawl comp on Mecha Base, and both of those they played it so incredibly well. So it's
Yeah.
tough to say, oh, this is what Kennesaw likes to play, and we're going to try and force them off of it because they seem very versatile. As we see here in the lower third, though, the next map is going to be Dorado, which I think will play into these sort of divey, maybe wrecking ball comps that South Florida like to play.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's so much high ground in Dorado. It's really crucial to have control over that. And so any kind of a tank lineup that has mobility is going to be preferable here. So I imagine we're going to see some combination of Winston, Wrecking Ball, and Diva come out for both teams. We do have a couple of swaps coming in. A big dinosaur coming in for Jin for University of South
Big
Florida. I'm going to
Dino.
spy coming in for Bebop as well. And interestingly, Kesson and Wads are going to swap roles. So,
Ooh,
very interested to see how this is
this
going to
is
work out. That's going to
that's
throw a
a
wrench in the works for sure.
that is a lot of changes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is an actual strategy between Kez and Wads on the side of Kennesaw, or if they're like, we took Busan pretty easily. Let me go DPS this time. Let's see if I can do the same thing you did. I'm not sure. But potentially an opening for South Florida, I must say. Two of their
Yeah.
players are on off roles potentially, which means that you can take advantage of maybe that lack of experience on your own map pick. I will say, a lot of things currently point towards South Florida's favor, other than the fact that they lost 200-0 in the first map.
Right. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. Lots of changes coming in, and honestly, I could see this working out either way. Sometimes when you plan for a specific strategy and a specific comp and specific players, that can get turned on its head if they don't come in, or if in this case they're playing on different roles.
Yeah.
So could be a boon for Kennesaw State as well. Gonna be very curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and a big dinosaur coming in for Jin. Now, we watched the quarterfinal matchup between USF and
Yes.
UCF, and we were super impressed by a big dinosaur's Ana in that matchup.
Hmm.
His anti-nades were always on point, always opening up the fight for the Bulls incredibly well. Now that he is in, I'm expecting to see some more of that Ana play and for South Florida to play around it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And speaking of playing around it, I imagine we're going to see him Winston on the main tank because that nano boosted Winston is just so powerful and gives so much staying time to whoever to the Winston, during a dive because typically they aren't able to stay in that long, and that is what we're seeing Dirk the Turk hover over in spawn right now for USF.
Yeah, USF on the attack first has some time to try and swap things up, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is what they walk out on, this double bubble composition with a Sombra and a flying character potentially from Commander Hui trying to figure out if he's going to go far or Echo. Kennesaw State are going to be moving with the Orisa Diva composition, trying to get themselves set up on this far high ground, but Lukewarm and Wads are both playing some super long ranges. Look at this spot that Lukewarm has found. Unfortunately, there is a Winston bubble in the way, so probably won't be able to find too much value, but gotta love the creativity.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Lukewarm looking for a jump shot right now. Ooh, almost finds Luluki, I believe that was, or maybe Saki in the back line. Kennesaw and Wads now looking to control this high ground, but they're going to have to deal with Wads, on this, their Commander Huey on this Echo, but they're removed by the focusing beam very quickly, so this is a boon for Kennesaw State to start out their defense. Nitro Galaxy now maintaining that front line for Kennesaw State, pushing South Florida back, and they're going to try again.
Yeah, Wads has the support from ISO, his Mercy, as he's flying around in the air. This is something that Commander Hui doesn't, and that means Wads has a distinct advantage in these air battles in both healing and damage.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's going to be an uphill battle for Commander Huey to try and make something happen with that Echo, especially now with the Amplification Matrix coming in from Cousin, but they're going to be removed from the fight. Dirk the Turk catches them out. Counterpick does come in for each side, though. 3v3 now on point, so this could go either way, but it is going slightly in favor of USF as they finally get these last few stagger kills. They're going to be able to get this card close to the end of first if they don't, in fact, capture it.
They should be able to capture it here. The staggers are good enough on the side of South Florida that Kennesaw would just basically be forcing themselves into a stagger fight. But that is, in fact, what they're going to do. Try and force a couple ultimates out, but no! Wads goes down, and they go, maybe not, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that was a C9 or if Kennesaw was just a little bit late to the party, but either way, South Florida do unlock the second point of Dorado.
Yeah, and South Florida definitely look a lot more comfortable here on Dorado. This map choice definitely paying dividends for them right now. Commander Huey at the moment just pushing the card, but I'm going to be looking to him to probably contest this high ground. Dirk the Turk goes down very low, decides to stay in and pays for it with their life. Ominous Spy comes out with a Graviton Surge, catches a couple of members of Kennesaw State, and that's going to give them the lead in this fight, but it's not over yet. Kennesaw State's still trying to hold on to this defense. No, they are going to back it up and try to regroup.
Yeah, but South Florida was an extremely expensive fight for them. All they have coming up is this EMP from Saki, which is an incredibly good ultimate, but if it doesn't find the value it needs, the duplicate, the supercharger, the Diva Bomb on the other side is going to find so much, and Lukewarm with the power of the supercharger has found two already, and I think Saki's just going to hang on to that EMP for the next fight.
Yeah, they're certainly going to back up and try again. They know that Commander Huey has this duplicate coming online. A big dinosaur has the nano boost as well. So USF is looking pretty good coming into this next fight. They lost that one quickly, so they're going to be in a position to make something happen. But on the other side, Kennesaw State had a pretty good looking, pretty healthy looking ult economy there as well.
Yeah, and they got it done with just the supercharger too, which is huge. They didn't have to use any other ultimates. They still have the duplicate. They will still have the Diva Bomb going into this next fight, as well as whatever other ultimates that they managed to build up there. I would not be shocked if their soldier player is very close to that tactical visor now.
Yeah,
I think just the fact that that fight had so few ultimates in general, it was just pretty much one by one ultimate, and then the other side didn't use any because they lost so fast. We could be in for a very explosive fight up next.
Yeah, we certainly could be, especially because this card is getting so close to the end of second point. You know, Kennesaw State is probably going to just jump on the point at the last moment to try and contest it. They want to make sure they've got their team ready to go. And as we head back into the game, we can already see, yeah, like you said, Lukewarm just about has this tac visor online. Luluki opts to swap over to the Mercy, though, for USF.
Yeah, trying to give Commander Hui a little bit of help in the air has been getting pretty badly beaten by WAD so far. Luckily, now that he has that Mercy, we have a little bit even in resources.
Yeah, here comes the engagement, though. Lukewarm already starts off with a pig onto Commander Huey. Self-destruct coming in from Prototype R, but nothing comes from it. Saki now looking for some opportunity to use his EMP. They pop it. They catch 4 members of Kennesaw State, but crucially, Lukewarm still has the attack visor up and online. They're going to start pumping in as much damage as they can. Saki is removed right after that EMP. Commander Huey goes over to the Diva duplicate, throws out a self-destruct that doesn't catch anybody, but clears some of the sky area, making sure that ISO and WAD stay grounded. And now it's Commander Huey on the prowl. Gets 2 picks with that focusing beam. One of them is res, though, so Kezen is back in the fight for Kennesaw State, but only for a short amount of time as Ominous Spy removes them as well. And this fight is looking very rough for Kennesaw State. University of South Florida primed to capture second point.
That's insane from Commander Hui. They had committed so many ultimates when they were already down in the fight. It was looking like it was going to be such a bad situation from South Florida because their ult bank was weak and they did not have a ton of time left to build up new ones. But Commander Hui, the only member on the card at the time, just gets 2 kills with the focusing beam and gets South Florida right back into it with a gravitic surge. So incredible stuff from the South Florida. Big Dinosaur will also have the nano boost, likely going on to Dirk the Turk to try and keep pushing forward into this Kennesaw comp.
Yeah, but the Kennesaw comp is doing a lot of work right now. Lukewarm goes down low, is forced to Wraith out of that fight. Big Dinosaur looking to pop that nano boost just like you were saying, and there it goes right onto the Dirk the Turk. Immediately takes Kezen out of the fight. And in fact, 3 members of Kennesaw State just fall like flies under that zapper that Dirk the Turk has.
Ominous Spy's Grav got eaten, but it doesn't really matter when Kennesaw's comp was playing so close together anyways. It was just basically like shooting into a Grav nonetheless. So now South Florida, they're coming up towards the end of this map, but and the massive purple from Big Dinosaur, it's gotten 3.
It has gotten 3, and that's going to lead to at least a kill onto ISO and Kezen. And without the support line, Kennesaw State looking very, very rough right now. Lukewarm doing the most that they can to try and stay up, but it's going to be impossible under this aggression. But look at the defensive hold from Kennesaw State. They come back and remove the threat from USF.
It was looking really scary on the side of Kennesaw, but the front line of Nitro Galaxy and Prototype are hold strong just enough for their members to come back into the fight. In South Florida, now things are looking a little bit more grim. You've got the Deadeye from Commander Hui, but that's about it, as South Florida is now pretty much swapped off onto a Brawl comp, but they're going to need time to build up these ultimates again. They've got 90 seconds. It might be enough, but you've got to get moving quick. They're taking their sweet time to set up here.
Yeah, here comes the Deadeye from Cassidy. And it finds Kezen, actually, before they can get that immortality field up. Lukewarm falls as well to Dirk the Turk, and now there's a huge opportunity for University of South Florida to try and push this through to completion. Prototyper gets hacked. They have the self-destruct online. They're gonna get re-D-Max. They pop the self-destruct to get back in their mech for this fight. Lukewarm now looking for a place to use this Death Blossom. They pop it almost immediately, but they are taken out of the fight as well. Now Nitro Galaxy goes over to the Wrecking Ball to try and stall as long as they can, but how long that's going to be remains to be seen. Nitro Galaxy still has quite a bit of help. They're going to be able to come back onto this point and continue to stall. Can Kennesaw State get this to OT or not? There's so many ults on the side of University of South Florida that it's going to be very difficult to try and get in. Saki finds Wads with an EMP and a hack as well. This is going beautifully for University of South Florida, as there's just a few more meters left to go before they cap this point. And can they get it before the overtime clicks over? It looks like it's almost possible, and there it is. 9.1 seconds left on the clock.
Stagger was impressive from Kennesaw, getting the clock down to under 10 seconds, but South Florida, compared to Busan, look incredible in that fight. Their engages with double bubble comp were aggressive, but not too aggressive. They knew their limits with the composition. They knew how to buy space with those Winston jumps and the Zarya bubbles. And a big dinosaur on that auto once again, looking impressive, keeping his team alive in some of the most dire of scenarios there.
Yeah.
University of South Florida, they finish the map, so now it comes on to Kennesaw State to try and equalize.
Yeah, and none of these payload maps are that easy to complete as well, so even coming in with just 9.1 seconds is quite the accomplishment. Kennesaw State has their work cut out for them, and it looks like USF is going to opt for a very similar kind of defense that Kennesaw State had, but Ominous Spy going over to this Sigma is a little bit different and may cause some problems when they need to contest the high ground if they have to drop.
Yeah, they're playing a comp that is very much optimized for contesting on this high ground. Kennesaw State, they're going to have trouble closing the distance without getting poked out by this Hanzo, by this Ashe, by this Orisa. But once they have closed the distance, Kennesaw State might find that their composition could have a lot of weak points to exploit if you get on top of them. Nitro Galaxy, Prototype R, Lukewarm, they're going to be looking to get something done. Hey, Lukewarm getting around to the back already. You see Ominous Spy and Commander Hui taking their eyes off of the main sort of core of this composition already.
Yeah, and excellent timing right there from Nitro Galaxy going in as soon as Lukewarm starts to put the pressure on that high ground, buying some space and getting some ult charge for both of these heroes. Ominous Spy, though, looking pretty good with their Sigma right now. They're almost 30% to their Gravitic Flux. Here comes the aggression, though, from Nitro Galaxy and the rest of Kennesaw State. Lukewarm now taking it a flank angle to try and deal in as much damage as they can. Prototyper has to back off as a lot of aggression coming in from USF now. They have this bunker, and they're not letting Kennesaw State take any space for granted.
Yeah, and by taking this spot at this choke point, it's not great for Kennesaw. Wads on this Echo is going to have trouble getting value, but the ultimate's starting to come out now. Kezin puts the Nano on the Nitro Galaxy, and he manages to get Saki with it. The Gravitic Flux from Ominous Spy grabs two. They're going to try and follow up on it, but the healing is there. And with Luluki going down, this is likely Kennesaw being able to push through.
Yeah, they did an excellent job managing and maintaining the aggression just the right way. Primal Rage popped by Nitro Galaxy as well. They might not have needed it, but worth it to secure this first point, especially with these recontests coming back in now from USF. And with that, Kennesaw State is going to take first point.
Yeah, and the members of South Florida decided to try and throw themselves onto the point at the very end there, try and get a couple extra seconds, but the time you lose has, I think, caused a lot more damage. Look how much space Lukewarm and Prototype R are able to take because South Florida don't have a full 6 yet. Now, Luluki is coming up on that rally. That armor is so crucial for this double shield comp whenever Kennesaw decides to engage. Nitro Galaxy down is actually massive, though. That's going to force Kennesaw State to back up a little bit and wait for their Winston to come back here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now that we see, how the chips have fallen after that first point, Kennesaw State looking very good with their ult bank. They're gonna have 5 of them online. But so is University of South Florida. They're at least going to have 4. Here comes that rally that you were talking about from Luluki, but Nitro Galaxy and Lukewarm are there to make the difference for Kennesaw State. They're going to be able to continue pushing this cart. And now that Ominous Spy has dropped the cart, there's very little left that University of South Florida can do because the rest of the members need to try to at least stall out this cart. But they can only do it for as long as their life holds out.
Yeah, and look at the check marks for South Florida. They had so much available to them, but the aggression from Kennesaw was so good that by the time those ultimates had come up, they'd already lost several members and decided, well, we may as well just save it for a 3rd-point hold. Actually, with the Bob coming in from Commander Hui, they're going to try and push it now.
Yeah, that they are. Can they stop the aggression coming out from Kennesaw State? Nitro Galaxy is down, so that's a good start. Ominous Spy able to get that Gravitic Flux online as well. Here comes from Wads too, and it's gonna go the way of Kennesaw State as there's just 0.3 meters left for them to go and a few members left for Kennesaw to clean up.
I will say I don't hate that play from South Florida just because it got so many ultimates out from Kennesaw. They had to use a lot in order to make sure that they could push through to the end of that point, and because of that, the ultimate economy is pretty even right now. Kennesaw has the Nano Boost and the Diva Bomb, and the Primal Rage coming up in just a moment as well. South Florida has the Supercharger, and they will have the Amplification Matrix coming up soon, as well as the Bob from Commander Hui. That timer is going up real fast.
And this is an interesting swap. Ominous Spy has gone over to the Roadhog. It's going to make it a lot more difficult for Nitro Galaxy to now engage. But look at that! Wads comes in with a huge double kill. The self-destruct from Prototype R also finds value. And this Primal Rage is going to boop so many people at University of South Florida back to spawn. And with just a few moments left, that's going to do it. 14 on the clock for Kennesaw State.
I mean, you group up in a tiny little hallway against this composition, and the Echo just goes, "Is that for me?" and just throws in the sticky bombs, gets massive damage onto every member of your team, and then it's just a simple engage from there. I can understand the Roadhog swap coming out from Ominous Spy. If you can get a hook in on that Winston when he doesn't have the jump pack on cooldown, then that could be huge if you get that pick off. But unfortunately, with the way they set up, it played right into Kennesaw's hands. So now, South Florida, they've got to get something really good done with this minute on the clock, or else Kennesaw State will have a very easy win condition here. It is going to just come back down to this double bubble comp. South Florida have not changed just about anything. Luki's going to start on the Mercy here. She's going to try and help out Commander Hui in the air. And interestingly, now Kennesaw is the one at that disadvantage, as ISO has opted to go with the Brigida. So in the air, Commander Hui does have a distinct advantage.
Yeah, they certainly do, but it's going to be interesting because now the dive potential is going to be mitigated tremendously because of that Brigida that ISO has chosen. So Dirk the Turk going to have to watch out and play a lot more carefully, I think, in these initial engagements. Otherwise, they are going to get stunned, rocked, halted, booped, and then sent back to spawn in short order.
Yeah, they have to be super careful on these engages. Maybe try and get a good hack off. Try and get a lot of damage out with those sticky bombs before we get the engage from the Winston. Because you are absolutely right. If he just jumps up without any sort of engagement from the rest of his team, try and follow it up, is not going to have a very good time. It's a very similar situation here. Also, I think I noticed a Junkrat on the side of Kennesaw, which is very, very interesting. Obviously, the changes for him are in the experimental right now. They're not live, but still an incredibly good hero at being able to dissuade these dives. Those grenades can do a ridiculous amount of damage in a short time if you get up in his face.
Yeah, they certainly can, and that's also going to help mitigate any kind of dive that comes in. I believe you said the Junkrat was on Kennesaw State, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to also mitigate the dive coming in from Winston as well, making it so much more difficult because you get caught by that trap, it is game over for you. And you
never
go back
mind.
to spawn.
Wads. It was Wads. He swapped over to Echo. Never mind.
Okay. Well, that Echo in the sky is going to be problematic as well. High ground control, like we mentioned before, so strong here. Quick engagement coming in from Dirk the Turk, goes down very low, forced to back off. Commander Huey, though, removed by Lukewarm on that Ash. So, University of South Florida's first push starting out a little subpar for them.
Yeah, Commander Hui's actually going to swap onto an Ash of his own here, try and get some long-range damage onto Kennesaw, try and take the pressure off of the main tanks, but this is it right now. South Florida with 20 seconds left on the clock. They have to get something done here.
Yeah, they certainly do. With just under 20 seconds on the clock, it is do or die time for University of South Florida. Dirk the Turk goes down very low, forced to back out. They're going to have to wait for their team to heal them up before they can engage again. Dynamite hits Lukewarm, going to push them off to the side just a little bit. University of South Florida gaining some good card progress, but
Nano boost
we
for
are
Big
already
Dinosaur.
in overtime. There's the nano boost and a nade coming in as well. Catches out a couple of members. ISO goes down very low. The immortality field has to be committed by Kezin, but it's not going to be enough. And University of South Florida looks as though they can push through on this first point. Lulu Key does get the res on Ominous Spy, so now University of South Florida looking so much better than they were just a few moments ago. The last few staggers, including Bob, left on point, but Wads coming in huge with a couple of picks. Kennesaw State might be able to turn this around. Wads with the duplicate as well onto the Zarya. Can they get a grab off point? That is surely what they're looking for right now, but they can't when the hack comes in as well.
Prototype!
Excellent play there from Saki, but a Big Dinosaur removed from the fight as well by Wads. Wads just coming on fire right now. This is tremendous echo play, and that's going to do it. Kennesaw State holds South Florida to the first point.
I thought for sure South Florida had it at the end there. You know why? Because I saw the Primal Rage coming up, and I saw the Graviton Surge from Ominous Spy, and Prototype R pulls off one of the most clutch grab eats I have seen in a very long time. Without them being able to lock down the members of Kennesaw State, they were able to, Wads was on the ground right in front of the Zarya. He would have been locked up. He would have died. And that damage dealer would have been out for the rest of the fight. And you can't be taking Wads out of the fight. He was doing so much damage for this team.
Yeah.
Prototype R knows that. So beautiful eat comes out from him. And Wads is able to finish off that fight. And now it's just a matter of getting to the end of point one in 4 minutes and 14 seconds. South Florida have forced themselves into a situation where it's full hold or go down 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, exactly. Commander Huey opting to go over to the Torbjorn here. I like this pick. It's really going to shut down a lot of the dives, or at least make them a lot more difficult and slower, because they're going to have to deal with that turret before they go in.
Yeah, they are going to have to deal with it. Just that guaranteed damage from the Torb turret is so big. It's also really good at dissuading flankers, which I'm sure Lukewarm is going to be looking for on this soldier. Wads, of course, immediately getting that turret locked onto him and notifying the team of the situation. But look at that Molten Core percentage going up from Commander Hui just from the passive damage alone.
Yeah, that is tremendous. Almost halfway there, but the card is almost halfway there as well to victory for Kennesaw State. Here comes the aggression now. Saki doing their best to take that main tank out of the fight, but Nitro Galaxy able to kite away from that damage. And now, with no immortality field left on the board for University of South Florida, Kennesaw State can push in a lot harder here. And that is exactly what we're going to see them start to do. Wads taking an off angle on the high ground right there. Lukewarm getting close to that. Hack Visor as well, and crucially, Kezin has this Nano Boost ready to go. Yeah. They're probably going to drop it onto Nitro Galaxy as soon as his cooldowns are ready. And here we go. Oh, there's a window instead from a Big Dinosaur, so that's going to put the brakes on any aggression Kennesaw State wanted to put in to this next attack.
Yeah, but now they don't have to worry about it for this next fight. Nitro Galaxy is nanoed up and he is in. However, while he's in there, Saki has found Lukewarm and the Molten Core is all over the point. This hasn't gone quite as good as Kennesaw was hoping, as picks are going left and right, and the rally from Luluki is going to keep her and her team sustained through this push.
Yeah, that was an excellent hold there from University of South Florida. Things seem to be going the way of Kennesaw State, at least initially, but because of Commander Huey and a couple of excellent picks and play from the DPS of USF in general, they were able to hold. And now this is a much more difficult position that Kennesaw State find themselves in. They don't have any ults online at the moment, but they will get some in this next fight.
Yeah, the time bank has now been halved by the time we go in for this next fight. 2 minutes on the clock, and Kennesaw State, they have a couple ultimates coming online for sure. Duplicate from Wads already online. Rally and Diva Bomb will be coming up soon afterwards. Meanwhile, South Florida are going to be incredibly dependent on these tank ultimates. This supercharge from Dirk the Turk has to get value here.
Yeah, it certainly does. They pop it already, but they're going to try and put pressure on it to remove it from the fight. Wads sets their targets on that main tanker. So the supercharger is down. Saki out of the fight as well. Self-destruct doesn't catch anything for USF, and now Kennesaw State is able to push forward with a lot of pressure. Here comes another self-destruct. It's not going to find anybody, but it does move a lot of the members of USF into a position they don't want to be in. Kennesaw State going to be able to start moving this card, especially because Dirk the Turk is down. Wads finds so many members of USF as well in that tiny little hall, and now with this Primal Rage going, that's going to do it. Kennesaw State goes up 2-0.
It was a valiant effort from South Florida. Definitely a better map than Busan from them, but Kennesaw still reigns supreme thanks to some clean engagements from their entire team. But, I mean, I love to watch these guys play. You have them right where you want them here, all bunched up into this little room, and this is just free damage here for the Primal Rage. You see Nitro Galaxy just waving his mouse all over the place, because it doesn't matter when they're all so close together. It doesn't matter where your mouse is, you're going to be hitting them anyways.
Yeah, and you know what? The Owls of Kennesaw didn't give a hoot that USF chose that map. They said, we're taking this one for us as well. So, USF really now their backs are against the wall. This is their do or die moment. Kennesaw leads 2-0 in this first of 3 matchups. So, yeah, USF has to come away big with this next matchup.
Yeah, they have to. When we're going into a hybrid map next, I believe, they have to be very careful with this map pick. At this point, I'm just convinced Kennesaw can play anything at a really high level. So it's going to have to come down to, what does USF think about their strengths? What can they do and do well? What are you most comfortable with? That, I think, is where you have to go. It seems like they like to play these double bubble compositions, so I could see potentially Eichenwald working out in that kind of situation. Potentially, I'm trying to think of other hybrid maps other than that in Kings Row. Blizzard World is one of those.
Blizzard World.
That would work.
New Bonnie, another hybrid. Kings Row, we could go to as well. But I think, what was it? The Torb pick actually was fairly strong for USF. So I would like to see Commander Huey playing them a little bit more coming up. In Blizzard World, fantastic Torbjorn map. One of my teammates loves to play. It's his favorite place to play Torb, and I think it's a great choice there. So my money would be on Blizzard World, I think, for USF to mount a good hold.
I definitely wouldn't be shocked for sure. But then again, Eichenwald has always been kind of known as the silly map when it comes to hybrid maps. The sort of openness of the map in general, the sort of randomness that comes with the potentially being knocked in the void on the Eichenwald bridge. A ton of crazy stuff happens on that map, and that might just be that little pinch of chaos might be what South Florida want on their maybe on their side, maybe against them, but just adding that into the mix at this point. Just throw something unexpected at Kennesaw and see if you can knock them off their balance.
Yeah, because right now, whatever, the expected comps, the expected strategies just haven't been working so far. So yeah, maybe they need to get wacky. Maybe they need to get silly, pick a Torb on Blizzard World,
why not?
Anything really, anything new that they can throw at them, I think would really be a boon here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. But in the end, it will just come down to where they think they have the best chance of success. Because Kennesaw, man, even with 2 members swapping roles in the middle of that map, I couldn't tell. Kezin and Wads both played incredibly. In fact, Wads was arguably player of the match there on that Echo. Did so much work. And honestly, the side of USF, they had so much trouble dealing with that Echo play throughout the entire map.
Yeah, they really did. And again, I feel like their best look was what we saw them on last. And this is this will be interesting to see what's going to happen next. But while we're waiting for players to pick a map, we are going to throw it to a very short break. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. We are back, everybody. Just like we said, in very short order, the map has been chosen, and I can't think of a more fitting place to go than King's Row for our third and potentially final map of this invitational.
Yeah, this was like the map that wasn't on my radar at all, for sure. Usually King's Row tends to mean brawl mirror matchups, which, if we're going back to Busan Mecha Base, didn't work out very well for the side of the Bulls. But either they are very confident in their brawl, which is fair. It's called Scrims Row for a reason. Teams tend to practice it a lot, or maybe they have something else up their sleeves. We've noticed recently that the so-called hard meta on King's Row, this brawl meta, has gotten a little bit looser over the last couple of months. Wrecking Ball has started coming back and getting some value on the map. Some dive compositions and double shield compositions have been getting played. I think there is very much a possibility for either of these teams to throw something completely out of left field.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially because we see Jin coming back in for USF for a big dinosaur. So we know we're going to, or at least we are fairly certain we're going to see that Zenyatta in the mix. And something that pairs well with a Zenyatta is a Wrecking Ball. Yeah. So this could be them coming out with something a little bit avant-garde, a little bit, unique, to try and throw off the balance of Kennesaw State. But that's going to be a tough order because they have just been so dominant so far in this matchup.
It has been tough. Looks like currently, South Florida are going to start on the attack, so they could swap things up as much as they want here. But Kennesaw State tend to be going with more or less the kind of style of comp that we expect to see on King's Row. The Rhine Diva trying to get really up in the face of the other team. However, Lukewarm on the Soldier and Wads on the Junkrat is going to be very spammy. They're going to want to hang a little bit back and just try and get value through that consistent soldier damage and the explosive Wrecking Ball grenades. I'm curious to see what Saki is going to swap onto after he gets these couple of shots off on Widowmaker, isn't going to find anything, and is going to move on to Cassidy. So South Florida going about as traditional brawl as you could possibly get here.
Yeah, they are. And Jin, interestingly, on that Baptiste as well. So not on that signature Zenyatta that we thought, but we know that they can swap to it. Saki goes down early to Wads. Excellent defensive play so far from Kennesaw State. Lukewarm just kind of unchallenged, at least for the moment, on that high ground. But now, University of South Florida going to start to push in, but without Jin and their main tank, it's all going to be for naught as they take a trip back to spawn.
Wads already 80% up to that Riptire, has been doing so much work to disrupt this brawl comp that South Florida is bringing into them. Those concussion mines, just sending people flying all over the place, out of position, has done so much work to disrupt what South Florida want to do here. And honestly, they're going to have a lot of trouble closing the gap between them and Wads and Lukewarm if this continues.
Ooh, Riptire comes out early from Wads. Can he find any value? He's on that Mondana statue right now looking for someone, and he does! He gets a triple kill! That's gonna shut down USF's push in its tracks.
I mean, that was beautiful from the side of Kennesaw. You got Jin a little bit scared there. The second the Riptire voice line came out, he uses the Immortality Field, and Wads is patient, just waiting behind the statue until his team takes out that Immortality Field, and then he goes in and gets the 3K. Beautiful stuff from Kennesaw, and all they needed was the Riptire, which means the Shatter, the Tac Visor, and the Amp Matrix will be available for them in this fight.
Yeah, that it will be, and already we see that Amp Matrix used by Jin, but it's a little far back, so the team isn't getting as much value from it now. Couple of picks, though, coming in favor of University of South Florida on the tail end of that Blizzard from Commander Huey. We were told to watch out for him playing that Mei, and now we see why, as that was really, I think, the key to them capping that first point.
Yeah, finally the engagement from the Bulls is effective. The early Amp Matrix from Jin forces Kennesaw State back into a position that they don't really want to play from, and South Florida does an incredible job of taking that space. And now they're going to continue to try and take space here, but they're going to have to do it into what is likely going to be 5 ultimates from Kennesaw State. It is going to be tough to push into this. However, I'm looking at both Nitro Galaxy and Dirk the Turk with these shatters.
Yeah, Amplification Matrix comes out early from Kezin. Wall is up to try and mitigate some of the damage, but there's the Shatter. It catches 4 members of USF. They hit the ground, and now the aggression really starts to come in from Kennesaw State. But crucially, Luluki was there with the sound barrier to keep members of them alive. But it's not going to be enough to stop Wad's Riptire from ripping through them one more time. That's now 5 that he can count for the Riptires that he's had so far.
Yeah, Wads' Riptires have been so good. South Florida just hasn't had an answer for it so far in this map, and they use just about everything in their ult bank to try and push through there. Still 3 minutes on the clock, so plenty of time for South Florida to put something together, but Kennesaw going aggressive now with the beat.
What a fantastic aggressive beat there from ISO. That allows Nitro Galaxy to just start tearing through the members of University of South Florida. Lukewarm finds a pick onto Bebop as well, and they're not going to get a chance to throw in that self-destruct on that fight. They're going to have to wait for this next one.
Yeah, but luckily South Florida didn't use any ultimates there, because frankly they didn't really have a chance to. But that means that potentially Blizzard Diva Bomb combo coupled with the Amplification Matrix could be used here.
Oh yeah, and here's that self-destruct to start things off. Prototype R finds Dirk the Turk. So without a main tank, University of South Florida's push is dead in its tracks.
South Florida just hasn't been able to do anything for the past minute and a half or so, because every time they try and push in, the spam from Kennesaw in this choke point, it's such a strong choke point, and they're having such a hard time being able to deal with it. They have the same ultimates they did last time, so the implications are still there.
Oh yeah, and crucially, the wall from Commander Huey was beautiful right there. Self-destruct now coming in as well from Bebop, and it finds 2. So University of South Florida definitely going to be able to get this card under their control and start pushing through the street space here of Kings Row.
Yeah, you're caught between an Amp Matrix and an icy place if you're Nitro Galaxy there. There is nothing that you can really do. As now South Florida, they're going to try and push on their advantage. A beautiful stagger onto Kezin is going to allow South Florida to push up almost to the end of point B here, as now they finally get 3 on the point to try and push up faster. Kennesaw does have the opportunity to push in again if they want to. They'll have the Shatter and the Riptire from Wads, but it's looking like they might hang back. No, they're going to go in.
No, they are going to go in the last minute. They're going to do it under some tremendous pressure, though. The Shatter does come in and it connects, but the Immortality Field was there from Jin. Excellent timing right there. Here's another Riptire from Wads. This time he only gets 1, but crucially it's Jin. So without those big heals, it's going to be a tough ask for University of South Florida. Prototype R finds the remake kill, but there's kills on both sides. It is now a 4v3 on point in favor of University of South Florida after Commander Huey takes Lukewarm out of the fight. And now things are really getting dicey. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, but Kennesaw State is holding on. And they have started to turn the tides, especially with this D-Mech and kill onto Bebop. 1.15 meters left to go and little less than 20 seconds left.
The Junkrat of Wads is popping off so much. South Florida, they use so many ultimates to push through to the end there, but the pure spam damage of the Junkrat, he used his Riptire. He's going to have another one now, as South Florida are desperately trying to touch.
Yeah, they're barely able to get there. It was ISO with the touch on the Lucio. Nitro Galaxy removed from the fight, so... But Wads comes in with another triple kill tire! This man can't be stopped, and that is where University of South Florida stops right before the end of second phase of Kings Row.
I want to say that's 9 Riptire kills for Wads in that defense. That is crazy. Out of 4.
It was 9.
So...
Yeah.
Getting over 2 kills per tire there is insane value. And considering how short that round was too, Wads was building them up incredibly quickly. The spam damage of the Junkrat ended up being the difference maker. Unfortunately, even when South Florida were able to close the distance on him, the damage was still too much. And they just ended up falling 1 by 1 to the Australian arsonist? It's not really arsonist because he likes explosions, not fire. But I don't know what the word is for that.
Explosionist.
Explosionist. Dynamite enthusiast.
Ooh, there we
Sure.
go. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
It certainly worked out very well for them in that last map. So, you know, Wads, I think, is just the person that University of South Florida needs to shut down. They need to somehow find a way to mitigate all of the value that Wads has been getting. They've got to somehow pick him out first or neutralize him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is over for University of South Florida.
I will say, on the offense, the Junkrat may find a little bit more trouble because now the Junkrat has to try and move while shooting, has to try and close his distance himself to get on to what South Florida wants to do. And, you know, those grenades are pretty slow moving, so South Florida can try and strafe out of the way of them as much as possible here.
Yeah, they certainly can, but it's not going to be the case for Dirk the Turk's shield, as so much damage is definitely going to be pumped into that. Wads goes down very low. USF almost has their win condition in the bag, but look at the concussive blast that comes in from Wads right there, disrupting so many members of USF. They do start to push point now, but they find death at the hands of Lukewarm. A nice headshot there takes Lulu Key out of the fight. She's going to have to wait in spawn for just a couple of moments as the rest of University of South Florida tries to hang on. They're using this amplification matrix from Jin to buy a little bit more time on point, but how much can they get under this onslaught that's coming in from Kennesaw State? Wads goes down very low again, though.
Yeah, Wads goes down low, but doesn't go down and will have the Riptire, all-important Riptire, up once again, but it might not be needed as Lukewarm through the Amp Matrix has found 2, looking for a 3rd. Jin was at a sliver of health. Kezin will finish it off, and with 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock, now about to be raised up to almost 5 minutes, Kennesaw State have just about 113 meters between them and ultimate victory in this Invitational.
That they do, but they're gonna have to get through a barrage of ultimates that the University of South Florida has started to build up. They are looking a little bit better in the ult economy, even if Kennesaw State already has a couple, but a 4K from Wads! A 4K this time! He's not gonna be satisfied with just 3! That is phenomenal value from Wads. I can't believe what we're seeing from this player. University of South Florida has to do something. They have to shut him down. Otherwise, it's just Wads all day.
They just never saw it coming. He got up into the library and they were not ready for it. 4 minutes on the clock and Kennesaw State now push forward with confidence. Leave ISO on the point to push it. Try and take this 5v6. May as well. Look at South Florida, how defensively they're forced to play in the face of this spam. Now, Saki just swapped over to the Soldier 76, but all 5 of the other ultimates of South Florida should be coming up here as they try and push back in.
Yeah, and already we see Kennesaw State standing on the golden box of victory there. Amplification matrix used from Jin. That's going to force people back. But the immortality field is out already for Jin as well. Wads goes down, though, to Jin. So this is a big boon for University of South Florida. Self-destruct's coming as well. Nitro Galaxy is removed. University of South Florida is going to be able to hold on for dear life at this last moment, barring some incredible play from Kennesaw State. This fight is going to be over and in their favor, but Lukewarm has other ideas as Saki is removed from the fight too. So now the legs looking like they've got a little bit of advantage coming in for them, but Luluki is able to take Prototype R out of the fight as well. Sound Barrier now committed by USF to try and hold on to this defense as long as they can. They freeze Lukewarm, but he's going to be able to almost escape. Dirk the Turk there with the hammer to finish things off, but Wad's coming in big again. And now the kill feed is all blue for Kennesaw. Another Riptire finishes Commander Huey off. And with just moments left, can anybody touch from University of South Florida? They do, but it's going to be enough. 0.37, 0.18 meters left, and that's going to do it. Kennesaw State are your grand champions of the CENC Southeast Invitational.
That was an incredible last fight for Kennesaw. They were down in numbers. They were facing tons of different ultimates coming at them from all directions. But someone in that comms channel just screamed, "Winnable, winnable, go in, use ultimates." And that is exactly what they did. Even when there were only 2 members left on the point, they were able to sustain themselves. They were able to find picks. They were able to build up to their own ultimates in time for the rest of their members to come back in. And man, USF, I'm sure they were expecting to be able to hold at the end there for at least a little bit longer. But Kennesaw State, with authority, have established themselves as one of the teams to beat as we move into the LAN season in just about 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal play coming out from Kennesaw State. I mentioned beforehand they were my favorites coming into this, and they really proved themselves. I think they had no problem coming away with this win, and if anybody's going to stand up to them on November 6th, they've got a lot of work cut out for them between now and then.
Yeah, you've got some tape to look back on, though. You can try and VOD review these games, try and figure out what went wrong. Try and figure out how you can counter them better next time. Free tip right here: kill WADs. That would help you out a little bit. But we are going to be taking a quick break here to set up an interview with a member of our winners, Kennesaw State University. You won't want to miss it. See you in a couple minutes.
Hello, everybody. We are back with an interview from Gwen of KSU, the Kennesaw State University. Gwen is the analyst for the team. So, welcome to the after show. Gwen, how are you doing? Congratulations, by the way, on an excellent win.
I'm doing great, thank you.
Excellent. Now, to start things off, because some of the viewers may not be familiar with the role of an analyst in a team or an organization. Could you talk a little bit just about what you do to help familiarize people with the role?
I mostly am watching scrims, keeping notes on how everyone's doing, keeping track of comps, helping come up with strategies going into games, stuff like that.
Gotcha. That is really, really fascinating. So you certainly have your work cut out for you, I think. That's a lot that kind of falls under your purview. Did you have any specific strategies that you had worked up for tonight in particular?
Not in particular for this matchup, but we've been working on comps for just in general, maps, stuff like that. So knowing what to run going into like a dive comp or something like that.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Dividing.
Yeah, I am extremely curious about a particular change you guys made in the middle of the map. On Busan, I believe it was Wads that was playing support and Kezen was on DPS, and then they swapped their roles for maps 2 and 3. Was that on purpose? Were you guys doing a little bit of trolling? Was there an actual intent behind that? I'm curious to know what the thought process was behind that swap, because role changes isn't something we see very often.
Yeah, it wasn't a troll. Our current flex support is not able to be with us today. He has work, and so Ken and Wads are both DPS players. And so our first map we had Wads in on support, and then we decided to swap it up for maps 2 and 3.
I see. That is extremely interesting. So you took that pretty convincingly without your starting flex DPS.
Or flex support, yeah.
Sorry, flex support. Yeah, that is scary as you are heading into a potential LAN season. I'd have to say you guys are definitely one of the favorites going into that. But on the side of USF, if you had to point out one player that you think gave your team the most troubles, who would it be?
Not sure. Their main tank got us pretty good a few times. I forgot names.
Dirk the Turk.
Dirk the Turk, yeah.
Yep.
Who is Dirk the Turk? For the blind, it is light. For the hungry, it is bread. Someone said it in chat.
Well, thank you so much. Before we close things out, I just want to know if you have any shout outs that you'd like to give to anyone on your team, family, friends, pets, inanimate objects, whatever.
Yeah. I'd like to give out a shout out to all the team. We've been working really hard, especially these last few weeks, and especially yesterday. We had 3 different tournaments all on the same day we were working on, and so it's been really difficult for everyone, especially with collegiate scheduling.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of them. They've been doing a great job. I'd also like to shout out John. We've been getting coaching from him on Metafy. He's been a great help for us.
Ooh.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, Metafy. That's a site I haven't heard of in a while. Glad to know. Yeah, that's still rolling and that you're finding value there as well. Well, thank you so much for coming in tonight, Gwen. Congratulations again, and good luck to you and the LAN on November 6th.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight in the casting booth. My name is Warren Jugglegod Hammond, been joined by Dividing on the mic. And before we sign off, any final words for the viewers at home?
I had a fantastic time today watching Kennesaw, the Kennesaw State Owls, bring themselves to a 3-0 victory, establish themselves as one of the front runners going into the LAN on November 6th. You better be following the Esports U Twitch channel because that's where the LAN's going to be. And while we are going to be seeing a lot of the same teams that we saw in this virtual qualifier, the energy that comes from being in a LAN environment is entirely different. I will tell you from personal experience that anything can happen.
Absolutely true. Well, thank you so much for joining me on here tonight. Thank you as well to Cool Scoots and Coltoon in the production booth as well. Love working with you guys. Thank you for all the work you've done during this invitational. That's going to do it from us. GG's, and see you next time.